Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is Kushalmehra. We are officially in the first leg of the foreign interference tour. I am here in person, in flesh, with the great
Let me
Daniel
see.
Goldman. Yes, I
Nope,
am not a
robot.
bot.
Robot.
We're not sure.
We're not sure. To me, you feel physically solid, but I don't have a. I don't. I'm not an officially sanctioned CBC journalist, so I'm clearly not able to tell humans from non-humans. And this is what the foreign interference tour is all about: finding and discovering which all the robots and cleansing them, and then I think I have to call Elon Musk to get you canceled. I'm not quite
Why?
sure. Because if you're posting on social media, then that is foreign interference,
Okay.
and that would then trick Canadians into not liking Justin Trudeau, because the only reason why Canadians don't like Trudeau is because Narendra Modi built a bunch of robots to make people think that they actually don't like being poor and called racist, which we know everyone loves. People love having their businesses destroyed and then being berated for it. But Modi bots have been convincing Canadians that their lives were better in like 2014 when they were all objectively better. So I'm here to get to the bottom of this and stop it out.
So it's been quite miraculous couple of days since Daniel has come. No diarrhea till now.
Still good. Iron stomach. You can't get me, India.
So this is the Canadian version of I got balls of steel. I am here in India for 2 days. I go out, I drink Indian single malt whiskey, I eat out, I eat spicy food, I don't get diarrhea.
It's like, yeah, my grandfather's like, yeah, I went off to war and I flew planes in the Second World War. And I'm like, I went to India for a month and I never shat my pants. That's
Oh man, it's been so wonderful, this entire foreign interference saga, since the CBC has accused me of being a bot, you being an Indian agent, and I don't know what did they call you? It's like
they call me a lot of things. I mean, I'm a misinformation, far right. I'm in the generally. I can't remember. It was also stupid. It was all the usual. It was all the usual CBC stuff, like far right misinformation, Hindu Zionist, blah 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 blah. And of course, yes, we did a podcast.
But you are a Zionist, right?
Yeah. But that's like the thing.
Have you ever hidden it?
No.
You've been very open about you being a Zionist, right?
Yeah.
So when people say Zionist, what exactly do they mean, and what exactly does it mean? It's on a very serious note.
So on the serious note, like, what does it mean? Well, Zionism is the belief that the Jewish people have a right to self-determination in their ancestral homeland. So the belief that Israel should exist in any capacity, 1 state, 2 states, 3 states, 4 states, red fish, blue fish, that's Zionism. So you can have liberal Zionism. You can have there was a labor Zionist movement. Then you have like different types of. So you can believe that Israel should annex the West Bank and Gaza and make it all Israel. Like, okay, that's a Zionist position, and you can believe that Israel should give up half Jerusalem, give up the West Bank, give up Gaza, capitulate to all their demands, and live Israel and Palestine. That's also technically a Zionist position. So it's just like basically Israel should exist. That's Zionism. Now, what do people use to mean? I mean, people use it like to create a scare word, and most people, if like they use Zion, like it's like an ooga booga scare word, like, and people are pussies in general. So like when you say something negatively, like and a lot of Jews are feckless cowards. So when you say things like, "Are you a Zionist?" to them, a lot of them don't have like the balls to just stand them up and be like, "Yeah." So it's meant to be an aggressive. So when you know, depending on how people use it, but like people use it negatively, like be like, I'm fine with Jews, I just don't like Zionists. And they use Zionists and then they'll define however they want. They usually be like, a Zionist believes in murdering babies. Do you believe in murdering babies? You're like, that's not a coherent philosophical argument, but you go, you do you. Yeah, so I mean, it's just, a Zionist is someone who believes Israel has the right to exist. You believe in the establishment of the state of Israel, in whatever capacity you believe in that. And then the anti-Zionists, they they just believe in usually destroying Western civilization or the concept of a Westphalian nation state in general.
So, is the rumor about Justin Trudeau resigning popping again because they know you're here?
Yeah, this is like foreign interference. So as you know, foreign interference as defined by international law is literally doing anything in India. So I've been committing foreign interference, of course, both as a Canadian against India and as an Indian agent against Canada. And probably, I mean, if I say Bangladesh, I think I'm also now interfering in Bangladesh, because again, I'm doing this in India physically. So Bangladesh, Iran, we talked about Israel, Canada, America. Like we could just if we just go through all the countries of the world, then I could be doing massive foreign interference. If we play the Animaniac song where like Yakko's going like United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, right? Then we could hit them all in 2 minutes. But yeah, this is my fault. Again, I have been doing foreign interference, and I've been corrupting Indian society with the belief that you shouldn't be killed by a bunch of sword wielding lunatics. Which most Indians love being hacked to pieces by insane Khalistanis. But I foreign interfered on them and tricked them with magic Jew powers into thinking that was bad. And then that caused India to build a bunch of bots to go on social media and conversely convince Canadians that having their lives destroyed is actually a bad thing instead of a good thing. And then that undermined Trudeau because the pressure got as I went physically to India. My presence and I think the magic Jew powers reverberated. This is science. They reverberated off the frequency that all the robots,
science.
right? Because the bots run in a certain frequency here. So my Jew powers juxtaposed to the bots created an intense feedback loop, which hit all the way to Canada and got Trudeau scared because the calamity that could come if he doesn't. Because again, magic Jew powers, Indian bots. It's creating some sort of seismic event. So
on a scale of 1 to 10, has anybody in Canada ever attempted a serious definition of foreign interference? Is there a government report that has ever said what foreign interference means? Because see, as of now, you could be Mossad, CSIS, RAW, CIA. At least these 4 are plausible. MI6, no.
ISI?
Oh my god,
the most undercover double agent of all time.
That would be there is messed up and then there is this messed up.
I'm not Daniel Borwin. I'm Akbar Ahmed Ali.
Dalaluddin. So I have gone around whenever I speak with people in Canada. On a very serious note, I've asked this question to at least now 7 to 10 people in Canada, and I asked them, define foreign interference for me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean when you say something like foreign interference? Like Canadian media is full of insinuation that Indian agents are interfering in Canadian politics. Now, I keep telling them, please give me a coherent definition of what it means to be interfering as a foreigner. First of all, for that, you have to define foreign, because does foreign mean only having an Indian passport or a passport that is non-Canadian? If that is the case, what if you're a non-Canadian but a landed immigrant?
I mean, like, I have a reasonable definition, but again, it's a Zionist conspiracy or something that I would say it's like hostile foreign actors actively trying to influence politics and policy of a country through underhanded means. So we have CCP police stations in Canada, and this is foreign interference. We have I would say, hostile ideological countries like Qatar dumping billions of dollars into our educational institutions to co-opt them. I'd say that's foreign interference. Um, Again, you had Pakistan literally fund the creation of the Khalistan movement in Canada as a I would say that's foreign interference. And then also someone in India liked a tweet of mine, and that's also foreign interference. All on the same level of the IRGC assassinating my friend Mehdi Amin and liking of a Twitter post I made. These are all.
Look at the bigotry of this message.
Uh,
Why are this Nigerian and Ashkenazi commenting on Indian politics? Only native Siddhis and Mizrahi. Shut up. First of all, you're gonna meet him tomorrow or day after. He should be very careful about using slurs against you, because you can use your secret Jew powers against him.
But this is the Abhishek clearly knows the that is a pretty that's
a very nasty thing to say.
That's some high level racism.
And he should know that I'm going to meet him after 3 days, and I'm not going to take kindly to these kinds of insinuations.
Yeah, Abhishek tried to have me deported yesterday.
Yeah. Why does a Zionist live in Canada and not on the ancestral homeland?
Because like the belief in establishment. So like I believe that India should exist as a country, but I don't live here.
Notice the Zionist. The Nigerian is wearing a white tee and the Ashkenazi wearing a black tee.
Yin and yang. It's
yeah. So we kind of, you see, we let the dark skinned guy wear
contrast
a t-shirt and the white guy wear. So okay, I've understood what foreign. So here's what I will say on a very serious level. What is foreign interference according to me? Nation states trying to influence policies of other nation states has been happening forever. Since monarchies existed, different nation states have tried, whether monarchical nation states in the form of civilizational states or in the form of let's say modern democracies, they've constantly tried to influence each other's policies. For example, today Canada would like India to buy lentils, right? Because Saskatchewan
makes lentils, you eat lentils. Yeah.
And we are the one population of planet Earth that eats fuckloads of lentils. Like we are the lentil consuming capital of the world. We just love lentils.
Yeah, but not huge in Canada.
Yeah, not huge in Canada, right? So now Canadian businessmen directly beyond a point cannot influence policy. So what would an average Canadian businessman do? They would go to the foreign ministry in Canada, speak with the ministers or the diplomats across the world, and those diplomats would then reach out to people in India and actively try to influence policy so that India never decides to grow lentils, or India never decides to, let's say, use the Australians to buy lentils, because Australia also grows lentils. And you should see the fight between Australia and Canada in India, by the way, in the lentil sector. The Aussies are very much interested in the Indian market. In fact, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Australia has started making inroads now in the last 2 years because of Justin Trudeau and his stupidity. So now that is also foreign interference, right? Governments are actively trying to influence policy so that they can do business in those countries. Similarly, India as a nation would be interested, let's say tech companies, let's say you have an Wipro, you have an Infosys, you have many giant companies like billions of dollars worth companies who would want to be getting tech orders from Canadian banking. If you go to Pune, which is a few kilometers away from here, it's like a 2.5 hour drive, like where we went today, Salt, for lunch or dinner, or not, sorry, lunch. If you would have driven like an hour extra, we would have been in Pune. So Pune has a lot of offices where Canadian companies have opened their subsidiaries. They have, obviously, they hire Canadians too, but they hire Indians too. Some of the work is outsourced to India. And a lot of these Indian companies actively try to influence Canadian policy so that those businesses are done. This is obviously because we don't have a free trade agreement between India and Canada for obvious reasons. Both the countries have actively avoided doing that for whatever reasons. For whatever reasons. And both the countries are at fault. But Now, this is also foreign interference. You're trying to influence the policy of another country. But how would anybody have a problem with that? Like, I don't care if the Canadians want to sell us lentils, and I
Yeah,
think
it's and this is kind of where like the Canadian government's like making a fool of itself and like just trying to classify like any type of like, again, it's like literally the definition we're working on in the last year is doing something like tweeting in India, doing anything, being Indian is like foreign interference. Because like, oh yes, here's an Indian diplomat on Canada making sounds while moving his mouth. It's like that's called talking. And it's because it's lunatic Khalistanis who are driving policy on this. But again, it's pretty telling that the Canadian government is the Trudeau government is hyper fixated on Indian foreign interference when we don't really have anything tangible. Like, let's say, okay, yeah, Hardip Signajar was, let's say he was killed by the RAW on Canadian soil. All right, that's bad. One, Hardip Signajar, not a Canadian, shouldn't have been here. And like, two, this isn't like the first assassination from a hostile foreign power on Canadian soil. So why does the Islamic Republic of Iran get a free pass? And like, we have IRGC agents actively trying to undermine the country. Like, so it's one thing in China and foreign interference where it's like, if India and China are in Canada trying to compete for a deal, seeing like, who's going to sell us the most. Yeah. You know what? You can, that's diplomacy, right? Right. Like, again, where does the question is like, when does the diplomacy end and foreign interference begin? Like, where's that line? And, there's no concrete line, but there's some obvious things where it's like, yeah, the Chinese have police stations in North America. They're opening up literal police stations where they're just like policing the Chinese diaspora inside New York and Toronto, Montreal, and all that. And that's like foreign interference. You have like the IRGC, like making active threats and like funding these protests on the streets and like pushing civil unrest. That's legit foreign interference. And that's
so. Now on the screen right now,
yeah.
This is the brilliant report that we had in Canada. Now, just let us take a look at it. Examples, right? India's denial of accusations made by PM Trudeau in Parliament. This is considered an example of foreign interference. Okay, they have named Aaj Tak, Z News, Republic shared several talk shows style clips on their YouTube channels about the PM statement and Hardeep Singh Nijjar, receiving between 50K to 1 million views per video. Regrettably, YouTube provides few public tools to verify whether user engagement is authentic or manipulated. RRM Canada, however, has little reason to believe that user views have been amplified. Outlets like Z News and Republic, though both Modi aligned, must compete against each other for viewership and create news content that attracts genuine users. Now, they say Modi aligned commentators on Twitter appear to receive authentic user engagement, such as likes, shares, and comments. RRM Canada detected insufficient indications that inauthentic means such as bot networks were employed to boost user engagement. RRM did not think bots were used.
Yeah.
And also, like, said bots were used.
Because, well, also, like, the thing they attacked me is, like, they said there's 6,000 of the engagements I got in November could have been bots out of the 114,000. And you're like, that's a less than 5% rate. And as I tried to explain to the CBC, and they just ignored, like, botting doesn't boost engagement. Like, it's such projection because,
like, how illiterate are these people?
Like, they're like, it's like the CBC. Okay, I have 70,000 Twitter followers, and the CBC has millions, a couple million. They barely get any engagement, and I get higher engagement. Like, why is my 70,000 count stronger than their 2 billion count? Because mine's actually authentic, and there's this BS following, like one like recommended following. They don't earn their followers. No one, right? It's kind of just like Canadians download Twitter. Then there's like a suggested thing to follow. So people go, okay, because I recognize the brand, I'll follow the CBC. And then they never really engage with any of the posts because the CBC posts are trash, and then their engagement tanks. But they have 2 million followers, but they don't really have 2 million good followers, and they didn't really earn it the right way. They didn't earn it off the merit of their Twitter account, so it's not real, right? Whereas my 70,000 is far more effective because, for the most part, those are all real people. Okay, fine. 2,000 of them are bots, or 3,500, right? It's a 5% bot rate that I have. All right, knock it down to 67,000, or it's basically 70,000 because I have more than that. So let's just say because I'm at over.
But see the irony over here. They say using publicly available data, CBC News counted the number of times a given post was reposted by an account that had the characteristics of a bot. The Digital Forensic Research Lab at the DC-based Atlantic Council defines a suspicious account as one that posts more than 72 times per day.
Okay, so the Atlantic Council, fuck them. They're mercs. They're ideological mercs, and here's I'll tell the audience a bit of the. I'm going to go off topic and go to the Atlantic Council here because they're regime connected. Like Barbara Slavin ran their Iran program. Like I hate these people. The Atlantic Council, they're mercs, so they're ideological mercenary fronts. And the way things like the Atlantic Council work is they like perform a function in this. So CBC needs to write a hit piece. So you pay money to something like the Atlantic Council to then add their think tank and expertise, right, to whatever bullshit thing you're going to say. So if you're going to say that Kushal or me are bots, right, well, then you use the Atlantic Council definition of something, and then they just come up with all these different things. So, I actually have more just distaste for the Atlantic because everyone knows the CBC is fake news, but no one's really up to date on think tanks and a lot of think tanks and places where people who have fancy foreign policy degrees, right? These just become tools establishment because everyone thinks the same. Everyone gets a foreign policy degree from one of these institutions, and then you go into things like the Atlantic Council, and then you end up functioning as ideological mercenaries for the establishment. So I'm not a fan.
But I'm not able to understand where I can't figure out is, on the one hand, the CBC, which is officially funded by Canadian government, subsidized is the word they use.
1.4 billion in subsidies.
We're not funded by them. We're just subsidized by them, sir.
We get ad revenue. We make $14 a day on ads.
But Modi-aligned media, right? And some of the tweets that were mentioned in the Modi-aligned media would make anybody die of laughter. So these are the sample accounts that they use.
Is this the RR report? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, I love this thing. It's the best report of all time.
Yeah, this is arguably one of the greatest reports of all time. If you look at this report here, I mean, some of the things that this report says, right? It makes no sense to me. What are these people trying to say? Are they trying to say Smita Prakash is a irrelevant account? ANI? ANI is
the Newswire.
Yeah, they're
Newswire.
like
It's AP. That's AP. That's Reuters. That's the Canadian press. You ding dongs. You effing ding dongs. When I saw the report, I saw ANI, and some of the tweets that they flagged from ANI was just the most standard.
This is the tweet. Canadian High Commissioner to India Cameron McKay leaves from MEA headquarters at South Block, New Delhi. What is the bot?
That's the craziest tweet ever.
What is foreign interference in this? They're literally reporting the Canadian High Commission is leaving something.
Yeah, there was a diplomatic row, and this political figure is leaving this building, which indicates that he had a meeting there. That's news. That's standard geopolitical reporting. It's so boring, that tweet. Listen, you're ANI. You have to do that. That's part of your job. You're covering a thing that happened. It does add to the cultural fabric of news. That's something that you get a junior reporter to do, right? That's an intern thing. That's something for an intern to cover. Someone went from point A to point B. That's something that, sometimes you say it, but you get the intern to say it so they can get some reporting experience or whatever. The fact that was flagged as misinformation and foreign interference,
this is flagged. This tweet by my friend Anand Ranganathan was flagged. Okay. Yeah. Had Bin Laden taken Canadian citizenship, he would still be alive, lounging about in a villa in Ottawa, just off Sussex Drive, with his 5 wives and 24 children, watching CBC report Canadian and American governments expelling each other's diplomats. He's joking. Yay.
I know. It's literally a joke. And he's like, well, and they'll be like, they'll fact check jokes and then claim misinformation and foreign interference. These people are insane. These are the lunatics running the Canadian government. This is our bureaucracy.
This is a problem, according to the Canadian report. Shiv Arur, someone I respect a lot as a journalist.
Yeah.
What is the tweet or post on X? Justin Trudeau isn't just a terrorist enabler by calling Hardeep Nijjar a Canadian citizen and pandering to terrorists. He has insulted the proud global Sikh community. Shiv is standing up for the Sikh community.
Yeah, saying we're not this lunatic.
This report is written by Khalistanis.
Of course it is. This was written by. This is written by proxy by Jaskrin Sandhu. Like it reads like a Boz News report. It reads like the mad scribblings of someone at Boz News.
Like it's insane. I recommend everyone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you should read this report. It's a 10-page report. I'm going to leave the links to both the articles, the CBC article and this, because it's very good. Everybody should read this article. It is in the live stream. The link is there. I'm going to leave the link for the CBC report too, because these are very important things that one should read. And once you read it, right, you will be like, why is my life going through this hell?
Yeah, and like Canadians,
and I've posted the PDF link, the Foreign Interference Commission. They have made a joke of foreign interference, which is why.
Well, that's what they did. I think the reason they made a joke of foreign interference, I think it's deliberate, is because they are guilty of foreign interference.
No. I want to know this. Whoa. Explain this.
So it's the same theory I'm using, right? Okay. So, if you sort of poison well, if you make everything foreign interference, right? So if you can make Canadians if you could say okay, ANI tweeted that someone left the building. This is foreign interference. This is misinformation. Foreign interference. One, they can do we're tough on foreign interference because they're really coming attacking India. But also, if you're being such a joke, and Canadians go what the fuck is even foreign interference? What? It's just someone tweeting from Bangalore. That's foreign interference. Oh, that's kind of stupid, right? Then when it comes down to the fact that we have 11 members of parliament who are Chinese spies, right? And the actual foreign interference of the Islamic Republic of Iran, of the CCP, the ISI, then Canadians are more desensitized to the concept of the foreign interference. You go, right? It's like, why, right? So why am I running around India on the foreign interference tour? Because if I'm going to be accused of foreign interference, I might as well define foreign interference the way they did, of okay, foreign interference is me on a rickshaw, right? Foreign interference.
How was the rickshaw?
It was fun. I enjoy the chaos. Yeah, I enjoy the chaos of the vrooming and the beeping and the swerving. I don't want to drive in it because it's the wrong side of the road and all my instincts are messed up.
Hang on. This is very interesting. Somebody has backed you up clearly from X. The individual says, I have reports from the RRM website written by Boz News, WSA, and other radical outfits, which are probably taken down from the website. These reports are there since 2-3 years at least. I can share it with you. All right, do this. First of all, thank you very much for sharing this information. We love this. This is why we have such an awesome audience on this podcast, Canada. And we love you all for sharing this kind of information. This is the email you see on the screen right now. It's contact@kushalmehra.com. Please share all those reports with us. We will go through them. Yeah,
if we can prove that the RR report was literally just the mad scribblings of, because I read it and it's oh, this is just the mad scribblings of Boz News that was then given to the government and they just turned it into a report. It's the only logical explanation for how that got through, because I don't think any Canadians understand. It's clear that no one serious made that report, because you can't just accuse the Newswire of being foreign interference for tweeting unless you don't know what ANI is. You have to, listen, most Canadians don't know what ANI is. They know what a Newswire is, and they might know Reuters or the AP, because those are the big American ones,
yeah,
and the Western ones, and the Canadian press, because that's ours. But I don't know what the Thai Newswire is. I don't know what Bangladesh's Newswire is called. I don't know what France's Newswire is called. I can look it up and I can figure it out. And if I was writing a report on French media for the government, I probably would look up what the name of the French Newswire is and then figure out the major news outlets and all this. But yeah, it's just, it's such projection because they're like Modi aligned media. Because like they're Trudeau operatives.
Okay, so my question to Canadians is: let us assume there is Modi aligned media.
Mhm.
Their working definition of Modi aligned media is people who, according to the section of Indian left wing politicians, are basically not, how do we say, bowing down to the Congress party. All right,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty much the politics of India. Now, very interestingly, is when it comes to the Khalistan issue, the Khalistan issue is very peculiar because is Barkha Dutt Modi aligned media? She's been very critical of the Khalistan issue too.
Mhm.
So, what are we going to do about that?
Yeah, I found that like turns out Justin Trudeau has united India in a way that no one else could. Like outside of like a actual boots of the ground invasion from Pakistan, I don't think anyone could unite the different factions of India as well as like Justin and Jagmeet have.
Yeah, for those people who think somebody likes Khalistanis in India, I want to break it for them. Nobody likes Khalistanis in India, right?
Mhm.
Again, this article was shared in the past too.
Mhm.
I want to share it again so that people realize how much the Khalistanis are disliked in India.
Mm.
And like someone who I'm not a fan of, even they dislike the Khalistanis. Look at this, the communists of India. They also dislike the Khalistanis. And this is 1986. They don't like the Khalistanis.
No.
This is from the India Today archives. I'll again paste this article for people. People don't understand how much dislike people have for Khalistan in India. Nobody likes them. The Sikh community doesn't like them. The Hindu community doesn't like them. The Christians don't like them. The communists don't like them.
Hey, I've seen how they act in Canada. They don't even like them. They're knocking each other off in gang wars. So, I think the only segment of the population that likes Khalistanis are Canadian members of Parliament. Like outside of the House of Commons in Canada, I don't think anyone really likes Khalistan.
No, I mean, I think the Canadian parliamentarians really like Khalistan. I think they love Khalistan.
Mhm.
If the Canadian parliamentarian was on bharatmatrimony.com or shadi.com,
Mhm.
I think the first people they would sign up to would be Khalistani matrimony.
Mhm.
I think Canadian parliamentarians love Khalistan that much. They would definitely sign up to Khalistani matrimony. But again, so there is no working definition of foreign interference at a serious level, from what I understand. There is basically wishy-washy bullshit that is presented as something very deep and and very what do you call, um, very unintellectual.
Mhm.
And that's how it's always done. And the idea is throw a lot of muck. So we don't know what foreign interference is. We've kind of understood that Modi aligned media is another bullshit argument. Is there Trudeau aligned media in Canada?
Of course there is. He fucking pays them. It's pure projection. Every print media is got the 600. Every newspaper got that $600 million bailout from Trudeau. He pays them. The CBC gets
$1.4 billion last year.
It's an extension of the Liberal Party's caucus. And then, like, okay, you can say then the CTV and Global News, they're independent. And you're like, yeah, maybe, but they're all subsidiaries of Rogers and Bell, and Rogers and Bell are like half of their expenses are lobbying the government on different stuff, and they get so many subsidies that it's like, they essentially they keep like their media is like, again, the media is going to of course be very government friendly because they're major telecom companies and they want to just get tons of money from the government because Canada's a country that just subsidizes everything, and corporations have the best lawyers to claim that, hey, we're the most diverse or something, we're very anti-racists or whatever, so we qualify for whatever funding that we need. And because if you have an army of lawyers, you can kind of get your way in Canada. So it's all,
So you mean lawfare?
Lawfare, but this is more like lobbying, where it's like, this is it's not so much lawfare. Like lawfare is when you attack people, and like that does happen a lot in Canada. But this is more like, there's sort of loopholes. Like if you have an army of lawyers, you can always find a loophole in something, and get through it. And then you can like kind of beat the government down. And it's only when like if there's like a significant pushback to like Rogers and Bell culturally at the moment, and the far left, you start screaming about millionaires and billionaires, then the government won't subsidize them that day. But I'd say 360 out of the 365 days.
So would that be a fair assessment? CBC is the Ministry of Truth in Canada.
Yeah, that's where they act. Yeah, that'd be.
So for the benefit of viewers who don't know what the Ministry of Truth is,
it's from Orwell's 1984, where the main character, I believe, worked at the Ministry of Truth, and that's where they produce the narratives and then purge through the archives and
so essentially history. They're like North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to be like CBC's North Korea. Like it's not like that, right?
But it could be strawman like that.
It could be strawman like that, and it's like the CBC is clearly heavily biased. They clearly have stories and then go and do the research to prove. Like there's no objective journalists at CBC. There's no.
So you're saying Jonathan is not objective?
No. No, they've been purged. Like Terry Milewski, anyone, all the CBC journalists who were.
So Terry was the last objective guy over there.
Yeah, Terry's out. Rex Murphy, who used to be there, he's gone. I can see they have like they used to allow some conservatives on, but there are no.
Can you be a conservative on CBC?
Yeah, there's a class of conservative mainstream commentariat that exist. So and their version of conservatism is pretty weird. Like why it's an expert on this. But like Andrew Coyne.
Wyatt is also a foreign interference agent.
Wyatt is a foreign interference agent too. But he's a good point. Like on Andrew Coyne, and the so there's a sect of conservatism in Canada. It's like 50 people strong, and 47 of them are media pundits. But like every conservative media pundit has to be part of this specific sect, where you're like institutionalist conservatives. So there's some fundamental beliefs. Like they believe that Canada should still have a monarchy, be an institution. They believe the tax rate should be under 99%, right? You can still tax at 55, 60 crazy percentages, but they'll draw the line at like 100% tax rate. No, Canadians have the right to keep some of the money they make. They'll stand up for keeping 1% of your income. So that's like they're conservatives, not full on communists. You can be this close to a communist, but because you're not full communist, you can qualify as a conservative. And the way the institutionalist theory works is like you say, oh, we respect the institutions must be whatever. So because you respect stability or whatever in the vaunted institutions, what happens is the lefties destroy an institution and then rewrite the laws and create a new institution like a child transition healthcare clinic in the middle of a church, right? Oh, and then because the child transition church clinic was established on Wednesday, on Thursday, it becomes an institution in Canada and therefore must be protected by Andrew Coyne and the media conservatives. And the way they work is they're generally used in this game to show like the acceptable line of conservatives. So it's like the capo undermining your own people type mentality, right? Like the Jews collaborate with the Nazis, or I'm sure there's like Hindus who collaborate with the Khalistanis, or it's the less extreme version of this. You have conservatives who sort of collaborate with the media narrative and be the good one. So like again, they come on the show to be like, oh my God, Pierre Poilievre says he doesn't want 1 billion immigrants. It's just, this isn't the country I recognize anymore. This isn't the Conservative Party I recognize. This isn't whatever. So you go pretty much like just left of center. So that's right wing. And then you stake that position out as the conservative position. And then you declare anyone to the right of you as far right. So the way the conservatives work in the media, especially in Canada, is they're there to be like the acceptable conservative. Look, I'm the one with acceptable opinions, and everything to the right of me is completely unacceptable. So the CBC gets to say, hey, look, we have a conservative on. We are talking to conservatives, but those conservatives function to do that. And, you know, this is why Aaron O'Toole lost his last election, because he was one of these 47 people or 50 people, and he didn't understand that these people only appeal to themselves. No one outside of Andrew Coyne's takes Andrew Coyne's philosophy anyway seriously. And yes, there's people who respect Andrew Coyne, but they're generally lefties, and he's a lefty too. And it's sort of like he agrees with them, but sometimes pretends that he isn't agreeing with them. But again, to anyone who's to the right of the center left, has like no need for any of these people, and like 95% of Canadian media is just irrelevant to them, because all the figures are mediocre fools.
So we pretty much established foreign interference conceptually is bullshit. Everything else is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's get into this. CBC just broke this, I think 19-20 minutes ago. Trudeau to announce he's stepping down as Liberal leader.
Sources.
Not stepping down as
PM.
Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
Stepping down as the leader of the Liberal Party. This is reported by CBC News' Catherine Tunney, David Cochrane.
So David Cochrane was the one who, when had Panu on for an interview, and when Panu said he wanted to find every Hindu or Indian Canadian and force them to denounce Modi, or else there would be consequences. The guy who smiled at when he talked about weeding out Hindus for dual loyalties. This is the bald guy who just nodded and smiled giddily with a happy. So he's the one reporting this.
So he's reporting this. But if the CBC is reporting this, Daniel, and the announcement is going to happen, I think 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7:45 a.m. Sorry, 7:45 a.m. PST is when Justin Trudeau is making a speech. So, 7:45 a.m. is what, 10:30? 10. It's a 3-hour difference, right? Eastern Time and Pacific PST.
Yeah.
So 10:45 a.m. That means it's 8:15 p.m. in India. You add an hour. So in an hour.
The reporting notes, Vasi says Trudeau stepping down as Liberal leader will remain as PM. I don't even understand how this can possibly work under our system. It's loopholes, and because you're the Liberals, you can get away with anything. Governor General has been asked to prorogue House until late March. Gives the House enough time to pass the supply bill and ensure the government doesn't run out of money before April 1st.
So basically, what's changed? Nothing has changed. He's prorogued the parliament. Mm-hmm. That means he's adjourned it. For Indians who don't know what prorogue means, that is the word for
he's run away. He's a little baby who ran away. Is how you is
so
how
he's running away.
Yeah.
Jagmeet gets his pension, right?
Yeah.
And so Jagmeet's pension is due end of January or end of February. So everything is as per order. Jagmeet's letter. Well, I pulled my support.
Yeah.
Right. So he's going to prorogue the parliament. So by end of March, even if he leaves, you're going to need 2 to 3 months to have an election.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have an interim government in the meantime. That means his government.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to leave the leadership race of the Liberal Party because they want to go to the next election with a fresh face, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they know he's unpopular and they think the fresh face is going to be Cocaine Christia.
Yeah, and she's gonna get obliterated. Like they live in this delusional fantasy land where they.
Okay, let's think. Who's gonna be the leader?
Listen, it depends on how they run the election cycle. Because again, how open is this leadership race going to be, right? And this is going to be like so I might have to delay my Liberal leadership prediction for years, because again, I have said for the last 7 years.
I think it's Christia. She's got a lot of support inside, from what we've heard.
But she's a creation of the media and themselves. So she's not. Christia isn't real, but she's been made real. It's sort of the Anwar Sadat, Mao Zedong, Xi Jinping thing. Where like, you prop up a fool, but once you put a crown on someone's head, hard to take it off. Even if you think of them a puppet. So I've always said the next Liberal leadership race will be defined by some lunatic who starts screaming about the Jews, jumps up into the near contention, and then that will define the race from there. So just saying, looking at things beforehand and reading the tea leaves, being like, oh, I think Christopher Freeland, I think it's Melanie Jolie, I think it's this and that. You're counting out there's going to be some probably white hard leftists who's going to define themselves on the issue of Israel and all that. And they might throw being anti-India in there too, just for spice. And that's going to sort of set the pace. So everyone's looking, and maybe that'll be the next. If this is like a snap leadership thing where it's like, okay, it's Christopher Freeland, Mark Carney, and a few other people will let run. Then if they keep it as like a very closed ecosystem where it's like only, a few people here and there are allowed to run, then that might not happen. But even if you let in Melanie Jolie, then she'll end up doing it. Like they're going to find even
Melanie Jolie as the prime minister candidate.
Yeah, because again, she'll get in and she'll start screaming about the Jews, and then because you don't have to be a Liberal Party member to get membership. So again, like the way Canada works is you're going to get a Liberal, you're going to have these things.
Justin Trudeau's primary getting hacked.
But like the Liberal Party, I've seen it. Like the way the Liberal Party works, you don't even have to be a citizen of the country to vote. So there's going to be some lunatic who's going to scream about the Jews. That's going to then drive all the mosques to force their people into the race, right? And then you're going to have this system where all jihadis, foreign jihadis with no Canadian citizenship, are going to. This is not foreign interference, right? Again, the Liberal Party is a party where non-citizens can vote, and they're accusing people of foreign interference. So people haven't done the math, or people don't want to do the math, and realize that if non-citizens can vote in a Liberal leadership race, what motivates non-citizens to get into politics? Hey, let's kill Jews. That's going to get a bunch of people hyped up. So once someone starts screaming about the Jews, the mosques and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamic institutions that are corrupt are going to push money and people behind that particular person. And you can see someone who goes from like 3% support shoot up to 30% support. That's what I said. That's going to define the race. It's once someone starts screaming about the Jews, then they see that the large swath of non-citizens or permanent residents or whoever it is that they allow to vote in their leadership nominations starts to get this huge influx of highly motivated voters. And I even said this before October 7th, because I did the math and I said, listen, someone's going to eventually start making noise about the Jews. There's going to be a huge influx from the jihadi community that we've mass imported over the last 10 years. And then that's going to define the next Liberal leadership race. So in order to avoid that, the Liberals will have to, again, they're not against rigging elections. They'd have to keep it a very tight ship, and they'd have to basically say it's only they'd have to run like it's Chrystia Freeland, Mark Carney, Christy Clark would be allowed to run to get like 1% of the vote. You need some losers in there with the thing. But that's kind of where I see the Liberals going with this. Is again, people are underestimating. You don't have to be a citizen to vote in a Liberal leadership election. And there are places, and it's again, someone's going to start saying stuff about the Jews, and then the jihadis are going to come in and back them en masse. Everyone else in the race is going to look at what's happening there, and then the real race starts.
So basically, this proves foreign interference. You come here in India, and in 2 days, Justin Trudeau has to resign. You are the Indian agent.
Justin, and you know Trudeau's resigning because like my phone just WhatsApp numbers that I have no idea. They're just producers on whatever Indian TV show. Just the thing's just been vibrating in my pocket the entire podcast.
Yeah, just put it on flight mode.
Yeah. I let them burn themselves out.
Yeah. So what's the point? Okay. If he is resigning, which is not going to happen now, he's going to stay. When's the G7? It's in June, right? G7?
Yeah.
It's in June. So why would he not want to be the prime minister when the G7 comes?
Well, he is going to stand on prime minister. He's going to resign as the Liberal Party leader. They're going to prorogue parliament. He's going to run around. So, okay, when does G7 come? Is that the summer, June?
Wait, let me check. And is the next G7
in Canada? Because again, like for our Indian audience, before Trudeau decided to make his personality hating your country, he was on this quest.
June 2025.
Okay.
In Canada.
Okay, so Justin Trudeau's always been obsessed with his international image, and if frequent followers of the podcast have heard me say he's like his idol is Greta Thunberg, and it's true. Like it is a joke. It's a funny thing to say, but it's also funny because it is true. And that's I'll put it on the table.
Oh, don't put it there. It'll create.
I'll keep it in the thing, and I'll just get my pocket. We'll
let it ring.
Click the button. Well, I don't just let it ring. Okay. What are you saying? Joke. Okay. Internationally, Justin Trudeau put so much resources, Canadian taxpayer dollars, into trying to get seats on UN councils and get on the Security Council and get on these Human Rights Councils and get on these different UN councils, and kept failing because he just wants this international image. He wants to go to Europe when he's no longer prime minister and just prance around Europe, go to the UN, again, he wants to be this global ambassador of blah, 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 blah. Like that's his whole thing. So,
But why would anyone be incentivized to be a prime ministerial candidate in an election which every single polling agency in Canada says is going to be a landslide? Why would a Chrystia Freeland or a Melanie Joly be incentivized to take over the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada, be the prime minister of the most rotten phase of Canadian politics? By the way, the Canadian dollar just shot up with just the news. They're like, thank goodness, the bastard is gone. Bastard guy. So why would anybody want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, you could say winning former Liberal leader might boost their profile if they really have no ambitions, anymore in politics, like this. Do go down with the ship here, or maybe they're just straight up delusional and think they could win. Do these people actually think that the problems are just with Justin Trudeau's image? We've done such a great job for Canadians. Canadians love us so much that we could get away with this. But yeah, whoever takes this on, if I were Chrystia Freeland, I wouldn't want to be Liberal leader now. I would transition to another thing and then come back as Liberal leader 4 years later, when you actually have a shot at doing something. And because if you're the Liberal leader now, you're going to be the person who led the Liberal Party to from in power to losing party status. You're gonna the Liberals will likely lose official party status, and I don't know why you'd want that to be you. Maybe is that Mark Carney's job? People are speculating to be interim leader and sink with this ship, because Mark Carney is a what your classic globalist scumbag, and he's in the banking sector, so he doesn't really care, right? He can, if he can become leader and say his former Liberal leader Mark Carney go down with this ship, not really matter, and then be a sort of pillar of money. Yeah, he's gonna be. How do you say pillar of money laundering in English? He would be a respected member of our society or something. They'd say former Liberal leader, and you get kickbacks and this and that, and it would be a favor he did to the party to be sort of the one who, they're all abandoned ship, and they brought him in to put on a captain's hat and take the ship down with some dignity, and then sort of he'll take the blame for the rest of the party. Then the politician can survive. And then when the Liberal Party reconstitutes itself, they can then throw billions of dollars of subsidies at whatever Mark Carney is doing.
So basically, I still don't buy the idea that Justin Trudeau will not be the prime minister. I think they'll just call an election.
Mm-hmm.
They would call an election. What's the point? Nobody would be interested in becoming a prime minister for 4 months. Nobody would be if I'm thinking like a politician, what's there in it for me? How much corruption can I do in 4 months?
What can you even do if you don't have you have a minority in your own party? You have discord in your own party. You're a minority, and you're deeply unpopular with the people. Yeah, again, it's just an untenable situation. We have Trump coming in. Like, I mean, the liberals don't want a 25% tariff. They want a 35% tariff. Like, that's the way we're going with this thing.
So you're assuming the liberal strategy is destroy Canada completely.
Yeah. Destroy Canada and blame it on Trump and not them. Because again, if they can, I actually do think they want the tariff, because if Trump tariffs our economy, it gets completely obliterated. And then they get to say the reason the economy went down is because we stood up to Trump, and Trump did this to us. It wasn't mass migration. It wasn't failed subsidies for eco bullshit that never manifested. It wasn't, all the things that they did. It was it was the Trump tariffs, and Trump, crazy evil man, came in and he ruined our economy. It wasn't our mismanagement.
Yeah, but it's like, I think the user over here is right. Like, who wants to be a captain of a sinking ship, man? It makes no political sense to me. Like, I mean, I've followed politics enough now as a social commentator and a creator of content now for like so many years. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what are the incentives? Let's say if I'm anyone in the Liberal Party, why would I want to do it? Like, it makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes complete sense to avoid it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to do it? Like, it makes no sense. Yeah, Pierre Poilievre would want an election right now. Now that was going to be my next follow-up, and then we'll take all the live questions and wrap it up, because we have very important things to do in the evening.
Yeah.
Like playing board games. So how now Pierre Poilievre, would he want an interim prime minister and wait for 6 months, or he would want Justin to resign and have an election like right now?
I mean, the best case for Pierre Poilievre right now is Parliament comes back online. There's a confidence motion. It fails. It's an election. He gets to run out of. The best case for Pierre Poilievre is there's an election triggered tomorrow, and he gets to run against Justin Trudeau. And I think a lot of the country wants that now. They want to see Justin Trudeau go down. They want to see Justin Trudeau go down with this ship. They want to see him. They want to see the man fall. Listen, any way they slice it, the Liberals are going to lose. So, I mean, Poilievre, the Conservatives want an election ASAP because they just want to get into power and do that. Most Canadians want an election ASAP because they want to reverse as much of the damage Trudeau has done as possible, or at least stop the bleeding. But again, the Liberals kind of control the country's institutions. So they get to make the rules. Like, I really don't understand in our system with like the party power. I don't understand how you can not be the leader of the party, but still be the prime minister, because like the way the system works is like parties have internal leadership elections, and then parties, form, and then they all have individual MPs. Whoever the MPs sort of pledge their allegiance to as the party leader is the prime minister. That prime minister has whip powers. So I'm sure there's a technicality, but I really don't see how you can resign from being one or the other, because the two are intrinsically linked. Like the official leader of the charismatic opposition, like there's like.
So as of now, all we have is reports, right? We don't know what he's going to do when he comes in, like what, in 45 minutes, and he addresses the press in 45 minutes. We don't know. He might just come over there and say, I just had a bad hair day.
Yeah.
Pierre Poilievre is bad. I still like doing those black faces in the secrecy of my room. We don't know. It's all speculation.
Yeah.
And the way you're saying that the Canadian system is set up, then it makes it even more complex. I just think he's gonna say, I am stepping down from the leadership, and we are proroguing the parliament, and they're not going to have any parliament till, let's say, what, March end, April end. What if he just doesn't do it? And then, okay, if there is no Liberal Party leader, then technically there is no prime minister.
Yeah.
How do you run this country then?
You don't. Well, the country isn't running right now anyway.
Are you sure the country isn't running?
I mean, I'm happy it's not running because when it is running, it's being run into the ground.
Just see this report. I mean, I just had a hearty laugh. This is a handle that I just saw this tweet. Okay, so this is the tweet. Breaking. This is the Kabisi letter. Okay, an industry-leading commentary on global capital markets. Look at this. Breaking. The Canadian dollar is surging on reports of Justin Trudeau resigning. Look at that. Look at the chart. Look at where the Canadian dollar is going. I am finally free. We are out.
How any liberal thinks that they can take this over and then become successful and just do the same things Trudeau did, and it's going to work. Like, guys, the jig is up. It's gone. Let's see.
All right. So let's look at questions now, and then we'll wrap it up. By the way, guys, this only proves one thing: the foreign interference is real. Daniel is Canadian interference in India. Kushal is Indian interference in Canada. Both of you are interference in my YouTube. Jagmeet is Khalistani interference in Trudeau's backside. Okay, I did not say that. Somebody on YouTube said that. Okay, somebody says the Ashkenazi fled to India when the Khilafat conference is about to start. Oh my goodness.
They do that every year. Hezbollah Tahrir has a caliphate conference every year, and like for the last 10 years, like it was just me and a few others who'd be like, what the fuck is this, guys? But now people are waking up to it, so that's nice.
I just think people have had enough of this.
Yeah,
they're just fed up.
Because when they see it in their lives, and they don't want
mass immigration just lit the fire up everybody's ass.
Yeah,
they're like, all of you go away. That's all they do now. Okay, have a great foreign interference. Love from Ottawa by RS.
Thank you.
Yes. Daniel is upper caste Brahmin Zionist. Okay, Abhijit has asked somebody to give you names. Someone has given Daniel Bardhaman Banerjee Bird. Okay. Abhijit Ayyar Nitra asked for a new name for Daniel. There it is. Daneshwar Bordoman Banerjee. Okay.
I mean, we have Danjeet Bordinder. That's my Khalistani name. Danjeet Bordinder Singh is my Khalistani name. But this can be my Brahmin Hindu. Yeah, I need a Hindutva name. I need I have a Khalistan personality. Danjeet Bordinder Singh is my Khalistan. Is the king of Khalistan and Jagmeet's daddy. Yeah, and I guess we're doing tryouts to find out what my Hindu name is. Hindutva name.
Yeah. Okay, so you both need to come back and organize a rally that makes the convoy looks like a picnic. Trudy wants to enjoy preening around like a queen for G7.
He does. He really does.
I'm going to be back in May. Mm-hmm. You guys have no idea what we have planned for the Canadian summer. That's all we can say. By the time they figured out Abhijit is in Canada, Daniel is in India. By the time they figure out what we're doing over here, I'm going to be in Canada. Yeah. So, yeah, best of luck to them. Okay. Kushal, take a poll. Daneshwar Bordoman Banerjee's Chaya Chaya or Eric Garcetti's Toba Toba. Eric Garcetti. Eric Garcetti was the most cringe bastard I saw in my life. He was dancing in India. Oh, my God.
Yeah, because he thought he looked cool and like, India's going to love this. I know when I dance to Indian music, I know everyone's gonna hate this. And I do it because I hate it less than you hate it. So chaya, 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 chaya. Right?
Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Okay, Kushal and Daniel, your projection on which top Liberal MP losing their seat. According to 338 Canada and Poll Wave, Chandra Arya is losing in Nepean to CPC. What's your favorite board game? Mine is Resistance and Avalon. Okay, Daniel, what's your favorite board game? Boardman, which board games do you like?
As a kid, I always loved Risk because it was a bit more.
So tonight, what we're playing, Splendor and Catan, right?
Yeah, Settlers of Catan. Settlers of Catan is a fun game. Settlers of Catan is like a good. Are my Indian homies. They have Catan, but like they don't really know how to play or never play it properly. So I think I'll teach them Catan because it's a fun game. It's like half an hour, 40 minutes. It changes up. It's a good balance of like skill where like you can teach a 12 or 13-year-old to play it. Like an 8-year-old can't play Catan. But it's a good balance of a skill and board game. Yeah, so I always like games that had a bit of skill to them. Like Monopoly is just like rolling around for stuff. But I think I mean Settlers of Catan is a classic, like fun time. Right balance of just some skill and luck. So it's not, and there's like trading and rating, like so it has some politics to it too. It has some strategy, some politics, some real life politics, and then a bit of luck thrown in.
So the first part of that question was, which MP do you think, which Liberal MP will win their seat? As of now, the prediction is like they win only 6 seats.
6 seats. I again, I don't have those breakdowns. I mean, you follow TNT and Wyatt Claypool.
At least one in Toronto.
I mean, if you ask Wyatt would know, like Wyatt wouldn't even look it up. He would be like, this riding, this riding, this riding, this riding, this riding. These are the ones that are projected to hold. But if Justin Trudeau loses his seat again, it's at the point where like Trudeau's projected to lose his own seat. I don't think he wants to lose his own seat. And then still has some shame apparently. But it would be nice to see Melanie Jolie and Christopher Freeland and all these ding dongs get wiped out.
Okay. So somebody wants you to become the Prime Minister of Canada.
That happens. The country's in a bad place. I don't want that. The country doesn't want that.
Yes, nobody wants that. See, for some of you, you have to understand the idea of being a social commentator and a journalist and someone who analyzes politics. It gives you the special privilege of traveling around the world, meeting different people, having a great time with them. That's far better than being a stupid politician. It's in just 2 days, the amount of fun Daniel and I have had over here, or when I am in Canada, the amount of traveling Daniel and I do. We go to different places, we meet different people. I don't understand the lure of politics beyond the point. Like, this is so much fun. We get to see different things. We get to meet different people. Just in this tour of India, I know Daniel's going to go to so many places. Obviously, we're not going to announce where he's going, but eventually people will know wherever he ends up. And the idea is that it gives you freedom. If Daniel's a politician, he doesn't have that freedom. Today, Daniel can come to India, he can go to America, wherever. I can go wherever I want to. So why would you want to be a politician? You don't have to be a politician to be involved in these things. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that we could have covered that we did not cover? Do you think we missed out on something?
No, we did so much foreign interference that we forced Trudeau to announce he's resigning.
I think it's the story of our life. Last year, I land and Trudeau loses his shit. The year before, I land in Canada. Trudeau loses his shit again. So for 2 years, not so. Now you land in India. Trudeau's resigning.
And the final nail in his coffin.
Like this 3-year journey of Daniel Boardman and myself.
Yeah, it was the final punches. I went in a rickshaw, then I stood at a helicopter pad and drank some whiskey. all these things.
Yeah, but the whiskey was not bad, okay?
No, it was whiskey. But it was foreign interference, and it toppled the Canadian government.
Yeah. So all it took. So Canadians, you should know by now that whenever you don't like a politician, you should buy Daniel Boardman a ticket to India and just tell him to go on a foreign interference tour to India. That's all. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. And if you also, if your country has particular problems, there are certain places in the world you could fly me for free. Like if you don't like your government, fly me first class to Fiji to an all-inclusive resort. And I guarantee you, you want to bring down the Ayatollahs in Iran, guys?
Yeah.
Get me my mojito.
Yes.
Get me a mojito.
Oh man, it's crazy, but hey, it's been a lot of fun. So Daniel just came here on the 4th of January here in India. It's been a couple of days. We've had a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun in the future. I think we're gonna meet Abhijit when I mean you meet him.
I mean, yeah, Abhijit, it's not a secret. Like, I'll be flying out to what's it called? But Abhijit and I will be flying tomorrow to be at a conference this weekend. 2 days from now, we'll be in.
Yeah. So yeah. So
It's not
but then
Bangalore, it's
obviously Daniel will
Belgium.
be with me again,
Yep.
and we're gonna be all over the place. And obviously I'll be there because
We'll be in Delhi next week, and then from
yeah,
there,
because I have promised Daniel's girlfriend and Daniel's family that I'll take good care of Daniel when he's in India.
and more my girlfriend family doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah. The best moment was I'm talking to your dad. I'm like, don't worry, I'll take care of him. Do you want me to call you when he lands? No, it's okay. I'll know when he's landed.
You check our flight, yeah.
Yeah. All I need to know is he's alive. That's all.
He's like sending me texts like, "Hey, yeah, good your life." Like, don't tag the RCMP on Twitter because they don't have it. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I got this.
All right, guys, we'll wrap up. This is obviously this is now going to be the foreign interference store. If you guys have not understood, so there are going to be different themes and different podcasts. We will also get other guests on the podcast when we do these live streams. Right now, we'll do one live stream which will be foreign. It will be part 2 of the foreign interference saga, where Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Daniel Boardman, and I, all three of us, will be together on the same podcast, and we'll be doing that probably next week or the week after that. That will be the next foreign interference podcast, and we're going to do this. This is going to be a theme now. Foreign interference with different guests. Sometimes it's just Daniel.
Oh, and like, yeah, the fact that we're both in this room by the power of foreign interference, I say the people watching right now, especially if you're watching live,
Yeah.
you are also
all of you are foreign agents.
You're all foreign agents. It's like a misdemeanor especially if you've commented on this video, that's a criminal offense.
Yeah.
So again, CSIS, knock knock, you just bust down these people's doors.
Yeah.
If you can get around to it.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, guys. Always remember this is the official announcement of the foreign interference store by Daniel Boardman and Kushalmehra on Canada, which is official segment of the Cārvāka podcast. So keep watching all the content on this, whether it's on Daniel's Instagram, whether it's on my Instagram, whether it's on Daniel's Twitter or my Twitter, whether it's on this YouTube channel. Stay tuned. There are going to be a series of things that we're going to be doing, obviously not just on my channel, on other channels also, but the foreign interference is always going to be on this channel. We're going to have just we will have podcasts with just Daniel and I, but we might have podcasts with other guests on here too, in person. We're going to do different kinds of things. And if you want to support this foreign interference financially and be part of this foreign interference store, there are multiple ways you can do that. So one is going on Daniel's PayPal. The link to Daniel's PayPal is in the description of the podcast. So just click on the link. If you have PayPal, you can send donations directly to Daniel. And in the description, in the remarks, I want you to write "Great Foreign Interference, Daniel." And you can send him donations directly on his PayPal. If you want to send donations to me from Canada, you can use Interac Canada, and the email ID is kushalmehra81@gmail.com. That is KUSHALMEHRA81@gmail.com. If you want to send donations from India to facilitate this foreign interference, please send your donations through UPI at kushalmehra@icici. If you want to support this endeavor and this podcast, please consider joining the membership program. I think somebody had gifted like a bunch of memberships. I think 5 memberships were gifted by Brijesh. So you can also take advantage of that while you're live right now. You can use those and become a member. So you can join the membership program on YouTube or on Patreon. You can also buy Cārvāka podcast merchandise. You can go on kushalmehra.com or on Kadak Merch and buy the Cārvāka podcast merchandise. If you want to buy my book, you can go on amazon.com. The link is again in the podcast description. If you can't do anything, just follow me and Daniel on X. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, leave a comment in the comment section, And if you're
Get a
an
tattoo of my face onto your face.
yes. And if you're an audio listener, just leave a rating on your preferred audio platform. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Long live foreign interference.